We pulled 3 beautiful Mewtwo Vs. We want to send 1 to get graded. How are we going to do it? And most importantly, is it going to be worth it? We are in Mewtwo grading land. We have just a few... Too many Mewtwo's? No, just enough Mewtwo's. And because of these Mewtwo's, we would like to send one to grade, but which one? We wanted to know whether or not we should send one of these Mewtwo's to get graded, and we had a few questions. And so while we were looking into this, we thought maybe one of you out there had the same questions we did. Here's the thing. People are sending a lot of cards to get graded. If you are the type of person that just loves me some slabs, you go, girl. Now, if you don't know who CGC and PSA are, they're the 2 largest players in the card grading world. We'll be talking about PSA a little bit more. We personally like PSA a little bit more. Now, that's purely a personal preference. They are both completely fine. Seems that these days, PSA graded cards just seem to hold their value a little bit more. Before we get any further, we figured we would show you guys some slabs that we have here already at home, just so that you get a sense of what they look like and what your cards will change as far as feel is concerned from your standard cards like these ones we have here. This is a CGC universal grade Mewtwo V from Pokemon Go. Now the CGC labels, I believe, have recently changed, so this is a bit of an older one. And then this is your standard PSA slab. I just find that they have a tendency of being a little harsher as far as it comes to grading a card, which is why the value of the cards have a tendency of being a little bit stronger. They're different companies and they just do things a little bit differently. The irony is these 2 cards, as far as I'm concerned, are 2 cards that should have never been slabbed. Their current value is less than the card would have cost to get slabbed. I don't think you should waste your money, quite frankly, sending in cards that are not worth more than getting them slabbed. So currently, if you look on the PSA website, and that'll be linked down below, the PSA and the CGC site, with all the details on how to send in your cards to get graded. But PSA, currently, it is $15 USD to send a card in under $200. Now, here are the risks you take by sending in your cards in to get graded. You don't necessarily know what will happen. Make sure your shipment is insured, because the reality is some of these cards are not easily replaceable. And I can understand how incredibly challenging it would be to lose some of these cards. When it comes to the actual process itself, it is currently 40 to 60 days for the grading process, and that's from the time they receive them. So that's on top of shipping and on top of the shipping back to you. I know people that shipped out a package in April and have not yet received their cards back. And so disclaimer, things are very long term when it comes to sending in packages. If you've never sent a card out to be graded, you may also want to consider to reach out to a card shop or to other collectors in your area. Some people do bulk submissions, and this is something that I would highly recommend if you're a first-time grader or you're looking to want to send your cards to be graded. Card shops often send bulk packages out to PSA or CGC, and this can even save you some money. We are only going to be sending one of them, and this is going to be our very first grading experience. And I don't intend on wanting to do this the wrong way or doing it the most expensive way. You know, I love a good deal and I want to make sure that we do it the right way. So let's take a look at these beautiful cards and see how we are looking at as far as centering is concerned, because that is the biggest piece when it comes to knowing whether or not a card is worth sending in. What is its current value in the market? What does the centering of the card look like? And of course, what is the general condition? So from a value perspective for this Mewtwo V, as it currently stands on the market, the grade would have to be about a 9 or so for it to be worth sending in to PSA. And so we would want to see a 9 to ensure that we're getting our $15 worth of grade out of this card. Now, obviously, we've pulled all 3 of these cards. We obviously have some cost into that. And so if we got a 7 or an 8, it wouldn't be ideal, but we wouldn't be losing money at that point. Anything lower than that, it would have been a lost cause. All these cards were pulled from packs and sleeved right away. They are all in very good condition. We can take a look at them, but there's absolutely, no whitening on these cards. The real big thing we're going to have to take a look at on all 3 of these cards is really going to be the centering, because the centering on every single one of these cards is very, very different. We actually purchased a very cool centering tool we purchased off of Amazon. We'll have the link down below if you want to check it out. It is an affiliate link, and so if you do click on that and purchase it, we do get a small kickback. So just a heads up. It is fairly easy to use once you've figured it out. It took us a second, but we did clue into it. So there is this centering percentage chart, and we are going to do this on one of the cards just so you guys get a general understanding on how it works. One of these cards has really, really, quite frankly, bad centering. As you can see just from the naked eye, quite honestly, the top and the bottom of this card are very, very off. And so this is a card that I would not send in to get graded, just because the centering on the back is so off. The other 2 have much better centering on the back, that because we have 3 of them, and I know this is kind of an oddball situation. Most people don't have 3 of the exact same card to send in to get graded. In this particular situation, because we are currently building a Pokemon Go binder, this one will probably just end up going into the binder, and we'll send one of the other ones to get graded. We are going to use this beautiful, or better, I should say better centered ones to take a look at. You want to land on one of the bolded numbers. So here is how this works. We are unfortunately going to have to unsleeve this one more time. We'll put that back in just a second. Essentially, the way you're going to want to line it up is you're going to get the top left corner as close as you possibly can to the border. And then we're going to go from left to right. So the border of the print right here lines up with a 2. I know it's a little bit hard to see, but you see the dotted line here is lined up with a 2. And then what we're going to go is we're going to go from left to right. And right here, we're going to see that it's also lined up with a 2 on this side of the border. And that was going to correlate to our cheat sheet here. And the cheat sheet said 2-2 gives us a 50-50, and that's bolded. So essentially what it is bolded indicates a 60-40 or better, which means that essentially they are saying that it would be recommended to send in to PSA or CGC to get graded. So they're recommended that the centering is good enough. If you wanted to go a step further and do the top and bottom, realign our card here. We are lined up with our 3. So we are aligned with our 3 line at the top, and we are lined up with our 1 at the bottom. So our solid lines are odd, and let's look at our 3-1 Okay, so 3-1 is a 75-25, so we're not as centered top to bottom. The fun thing with this tool is that we have so many options to just give us additional information before we go and send out our card and spend that extra money getting our cards graded. Yes, it's an additional $20 some, but if you're going to start investing in getting cards graded, this extra $20 may save you, $20, $30, $60 in the long run by not sending in cards that are just not going to get you that return. Before you send in your cards to get graded, make sure you've done your research, checked your values, checked your local community to see whether or not they're sending in a shipment to PSA or CGC, whichever one you choose. And of course, make sure you've checked your card to ensure that it's the right card to send in to get graded. I hope this video has been helpful. If you haven't already subscribed to our channel and joined our community of money-saving Pokemon collector, please do so. And if you have any questions about grading or Pokemon collecting, make sure to leave them down below. If you'd like to win some great cards that would be worth grading, check out this video out next.